Happy Monday. Let me do my little thummy while we're on. I decided to come on a little earlier than I normally do just because I was sitting here. I was just waiting to do all of the things. So I am here. So whether you're here with me now or you're coming for the replay, thank you so much for watching. This is Wake Up with Juan. I do these on Monday mornings usually, and it's just a great way for me to organize my week. So thank you once again for tuning in. Who do we have? Hello to the mods. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I really do appreciate you. Good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Just going to give it a moment to get myself organized and to give an opportunity for a few folks to come on in. Hi, Carrie. Welcome in. She says, just happen to be up, and at the moment, I guess I'm up. Very nice, very nice. Hello, hello. Okay, so we've got some folks coming in. If you notice, I'm looking over to the side. I have the computer directly behind the camera, and all of the chat is just blown up. It's huge. So it allows me the opportunity to see like what's going on. So hello from Flemington, Pennsylvania. Hello, neighbor. I'm down here in Delaware. Did you guys manage to get any snow? We wound up with snow yesterday, and I was so busy working. I was doing all the things. I hadn't even realized it snowed yesterday. It wasn't until this morning, actually, I look outside down the driveway. There's just like snow. I'm like, when did it snow? I had no idea it was even it even snowed. I was just so focused on all of my work. Susan's asking, how's the knitting going? It's slow going, if I'm being perfectly honest, and it's only because I'm a crochet designer, so I've been spending a lot of time designing crochet patterns and things, one of which I will show you today. So, like most normal people, you know, they go to bed at night and they wake up in the morning. Well, I had about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours worth of sleep. And it was just because I tried laying down, but this pattern that was in my head, I needed to get yarn to a hook to just get it out there before I forgot it. I don't like writing down my patterns on paper anymore. I either type it or I do it. So instead of just saying, I'll remember it, I woke right up, put yarn to a hook, and I designed something. So how many of you guys remember my Cambridge Knights beanie? It's like the second most viewed video on my channel with 60,000 views. It didn't really go viral, but it accumulated a lot of views over the years only because when winter hits, it's a popular pattern. So one of the drawbacks, in my very humble opinion, and I can say this because I designed it, is the crown. It's a basic double crochet crown. And when I first designed that, I really didn't understand how the alpine stitch could be worked in the round and still make it make sense. Add a few years of design work under my belt. Well, come to find out, I actually know how to do that. So I went ahead and I reconfigured my crown to make it work with the sides, but then also too, because I'm not really a beanie person, I decided that if I was going to release something similar to Cambridge Knights, I'm going to make a hat because I really love making hats. Like, I'm a hat person. So I went ahead and did that. I'm going to show you guys that today. So before I get into any of that, just want to say hi to anyone who's peppering in. Thank you so much. I've got my fresh cuppa, as our friends across the pond and beyond say, the cuppa. The cuppa. And I will tell you that the design that I came up with for my, I'm not even calling it Cambridge Knights 2.0. I want a new name for this. I don't want, I mean, it's okay for them to be cousins, but I don't want like a Cambridge Knights 2.0 or any reference to the Cambridge Knights, because what my plan is to make a twofer again. Like with the Cambridge Knights, we did a hat and scarf set. With this one, I want to do a hat and cowl set. For some reason, I'm into cowls this year. I'm really digging the cowls. So anyway, this here is my latest beanie. It's called the Star Quest beanie. And if you notice, I spoke about this before. We've got post work here, but if you notice, even though we have post work here, it does not really give us the Alpine Stitch vibes. But what I did was I took inspiration from this and reconfigured the stitches once more. I literally sat here and played with stitch counts, the actual stitches, and I figured it out. I made it work for the pattern. So I'm very excited about that. But this is where it started. It started here, and then I let it grow from here. So very, very nice. Okay, let's see. You got your hot tea lollipop. Love that. Let's see. Let's see. We have, let's do another one here. Give me one moment, guys. It's not letting me do it for some reason. I hate when that happens. Why can't I remove that comment? That's annoying. Okay, anyway. So I've got things to talk about as usual. I take my Mondays to organize my week. Monday, wake up with Juan. I do all the things all week long, and then the Friday podcast is kind of like the update, the recap of the productivity of the week. So, members only patterns. So if your name is in green, you are a member of my channel. Don't forget, if you haven't done this already, you have a free pattern for the official Level Yarn Addicts only. That's the upper tier, the upper echelon of the two memberships. Make sure that you check the community post for the process on how to claim your pattern. If you haven't gotten it yet, please do that. The coupon code for your pattern runs out at the end of the month. I'll pepper in more reminders throughout, because sometimes we get people that wait until like the last day to claim their pattern. Just, if you have time, get it out of the way and send that email over to the patterns email so that you can go ahead and get your free pattern, okay? So that I have on my list to remind the viewership. Okay, there's that, all right? And by the way, this month, I'm very happy to report that the members only pattern is a 3-fer. There's like 3 little pieces in that situation there. So sometimes you get just one pattern. Sometimes you get more than one pattern included. So it's well worth it, I feel, because my patterns get sold on Etsy and Ravelry for the same amount, if not more, than the price of your membership. So if you're a pattern person, you may want to consider getting a membership if you don't already have a membership to my channel. But it's not required. Memberships are not required, but it definitely helps out the channel. All right, but I do ask that if you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscriptions are free. So if you like what you see here, consider subscribing to the channel, because I would really, really appreciate your support. We have goals here. Okay, so let's move on. As I mentioned, don't forget to check this tutorial out if you haven't seen it already. I did not take a picture with myself wearing this because I feel like I'm going swimming. It feels like a swimming cap to me more than a beanie. That's just because I'm a hat person, and that's okay. But I do like making these for donations and things. So I also like doing giveaways with these. So maybe one of these days in the near future, this may actually come up as like a replay treat. So stay tuned for that. All right. Good morning. Good morning. If you're just coming in, why is it that my chat box doesn't want to flow? I have to keep clicking it. It's so weird. Is my Star Quest on Ravelry? That's a very good question. I've been so busy. If it's not, it will be. Stay tuned for that. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. I'm not sure. I know that's not a really great answer, but yeah. Anyway, let's get to it. I want to show you this new hat. I'm not going to keep you into suspense, okay? Do you guys want me to put it on? I'll put it on. I'll show you the things. Hold on. Let me just make sure. And I used a colorway called Mushroom. So here it is. This here is, look at how pretty that is. Oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Isn't that so nice? It's so good. I'm tooting my own horn. It's okay. I love that for me. Anyway, so yes, I did it. It's all gorgeous. And here's the thing. This is meant to stay like this. It's meant to be a hat. You can't really change it around. This is a pattern specifically for a hat, okay? And here's the reason why. I'm going to fold this over and show you. Do you see all of this? So all of this is meant to stay hidden underneath so as to not bulk out the hat more at the bottom. The one side needs to stay flat so when you fold it over, it looks like it should and not all cattywampus. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm continuing on with this. I'm going to tell you, I want to pick this apart. Here's the thing. I took measurements of this from here to here. It's not my typical measurement. I'm usually off by, well, I'm usually at like 12 inches. When I took my measurements for this, it was 10 inches. And that's just because I was testing it. This isn't the exact, like, permanent measurement. Anyway, I folded it like this and I measured it. It measures 10 inches. I need it to go to 12. I like to have that comfort. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another set of rounds here, and then I'm going to add another set of rounds for the brim, and then it will be done. And as for the accompanying piece, the cowl, I already have that typed out, so I don't really need to go through the process with that. The challenge for this was literally the crown, and look how beautiful that is. You want to talk about counting stitches and just making sure that every stitch has a place. This was challenging for me, but we did it, and it's beautiful, and it just flows all the way around. There's not one stitch out of place. It's gorgeous. I keep wanting to stare at it. It's gorgeous. Anyway, so there is that. Okay. Now, yesterday on the live, I talked about this easier than Fifi pattern. If you caught the live, or if you caught the replay, you kind of know what I'm talking about. It was with this yarn right here. Red Heart Super Saver. It's that easy stripes. It's a super bulky number 6 weight yarn. I picked it up at our local discount store, and I sat here and I did this. So I crocheted several additional rounds after this. And if you notice, do you see how it's getting all wavy and things? So I said, no. I literally just said no. Back to the drawing board. I'm not going to sit here and stand on this rock where, oh yeah, we can do something easier than Fifi. If I create something, it's just going to have to stand on its own 2 legs. We're not going to have references to other projects. So back to the drawing board on that one. I will recap you once I come up with something more substantial, something that makes more sense to me and what I want. So what I want is, I want a pattern that's really easy to put on the hook that you can apply towards any project, such as Luck of the Draw, which is something that's happening here on the YouTube streets. Trisha, Mama Swift, she's got Luck of the Draw going on. Or maybe you just want to sit back and watch a movie and put yarn to a hook and crochet until the cows go home, but you want to do autopilot. You just don't want to have to sit there and count your stitches. That's kind of what I was trying to go for here. I like those projects where I can just grab my whip basket, look at my project, know what it is, and just crochet without the frustrations or the complexities of like having to count stitches, or what was the hook size I used for this project? Like We have enough things stressing us out in life. Do we really have to worry about counting stitches all the time for every project? No. So that was the thought process. And so I'm going to revisit this. I'm going to play around with the things and figure out something else. I think for me, it's the windows. I don't think every project needs to have windows. There are other ways to get gaps in your work, maybe twins in a stitch in every other stitch. And so you've got that little mini window there, or double crochet cross stitches. And in between the crosses, you've got these little itty bitty windows. So I feel like there are ways to get windows into a project without creating windows. So that's what I'm going to work on, and I'll revisit that, and I'll give you guys a showcase once I figure the things out. So anyway, who do we have in the chat? I have to say hi to those who are peppering in. I do like it, in case you're watching the replay, I do like to occasionally check the chat to see if there's any new folks here. I want you all to know that you're seen here. I pride myself in making sure that I take a little bit of time out of the live and really interact with the people who come to watch. So thank you guys once again. Hello, Janelle and Drawing Queen. Hello to you. Knit Geek, hello to you. And let's see, who else do we have? We have Manuela, hello to you. Kivia, hello to you. And Kim, hello from down under. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, Cleo. Hello, hello. Hi, Tiny Truths. I hope you guys are doing really well. I know we're all in, like, we could be in the different time zones, but whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening for you, happy Monday. Hi, Jody. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right. So, what do we've got going on for the week? Let's see here. January. Okay, so it's podcast. Where's my pen? All right, so this Friday is podcast number 118. My goal for this week is to include some knitting. We've had several weeks with no knitting content, and it's because I've been crocheting and I've been designing crochet patterns and things. Lollipop, thank you so much for gifting a membership, and congrats to Jody for getting that gifted membership from Lollipop. So nice. Yeah, so I'm going to try and include some knitting content there. I spoke about it last podcast episode, but I really want this to be a podcast, a channel where it's not strictly crochet. I would love to include other fiber arts because I always talk about like all the things. So yes, the goal is to have knitting by this Friday, which I have things on needles. I just have to work on them to give you guys updates and things, okay? Anyway, I wanted to share with you guys some books. So you may or may not know this. I have quite an extensive collection of recipes. I've spent 30 plus years collecting recipes and books. I have friends and family and members and viewers of the channel who send me recipes every now and then. And so with that, I try to place a little focus on my recipes. And I thought to myself, well, since I do this behind the camera anyway, why not show you guys where I pull my inspiration from and how I go about all that? So usually on Mondays during my office hour, while I'm cleaning up the studio, I take a few minutes and I go over to my library. I have a library, and I pluck through all of my patterns and things, and I look for pictures, I look for colors, I look for different recipe books and things. And today, instead of waiting until office hour, which is after this live, I went over there and I picked up some books. So I have two books here that I want to showcase to you guys. The first one here is a vintage book. It was printed in, I should have written this down. Well, it's not vintage, 2008. And here it is. So I'm sorry about it being backwards, but it says the Crochet Dudes Designs for Guys. So this is an entire book on makes for guys. And so obviously the reason why I'm looking at this is because I would like to create projects, tutorials, wearables, hats, things like that for guys. And I just, my personal opinion, I don't have anything on my channel that has guys, so I'd like to have some of the things. Look, we have skull caps and sweaters, all sorts of things. Cardigans. So whether you have a male in your household right now, I feel like we all know a guy somewhere. And whether you're making it for that person or if you're the guy yourself. I really like that. So anyway, I'm pulling inspiration from this book. I look at colors, I look at actual design configurations, and I say to myself, okay, what stitch would I like to work a project up, and like, what kind of shape am I trying to create? So pulling inspiration from this book here. It was gifted to me by a lovely friend of the channel a while back. So there are some designs in here that I'm not really too keen on, like this one. I'm not here for this. It looks nice on him. They chose it. Is it the same person? No, it's not the same person. They chose a different person. But that's okay. Different strokes for different folks. What I don't like, maybe someone loves, and that's okay. We love that. Anyway, that's the first book that I'm going to be digging into and kind of looking at things. I may decide to follow a recipe if I'm really inspired. I don't typically do that because I am a crochet designer myself, but to gain experience, sometimes you have to sit in the student seat. Sometimes the best teachers are also the best students. You have to be a really good student to know what it's like to teach, and vice versa. I'm sure you've heard that before. Anyway, I may actually do one, we'll see. The next one is a knitting book. I've shown this before on the channel, and I have to tell you, there's tons of inspiration in here. So this is called Viking Knits. Viking Knits, and it's from Lassie Matberg. Amazon. Viking Knits, if you're interested in this. If you're a knitter and you like all the things, there's lots of wonderful, wonderful pictures, images of all of this beautiful work. I was drawn to some of these just because of the color work and all of the things. Some in here just, it didn't really... Like, for instance, this neck is entirely too wide. Like, no. Let's close up the neck a little bit. But I guess it's a matter of taste, right? I would want that to go in at least 2 more inches all the way around. It's just too much. Too much. Ocean Waves sweater is what this is called. But I do like this a lot. I love that. I love the yoke. I love the design work there. My hair used to look like that. Not anymore. I cut it all off years ago. I don't know why I did that, but I do know why I did that. But it is what it is. This has many different chapters in here. These are knits for men, women, and children. So there are kids knits in here. Also, there's a whole section for accessories if you're into knitting accessories as well. So, yes. Yeah, so again, this here is Viking Knits. There's over 40 Scandinavian knits for men, women, and children. All right? Viking Knits. So those are the two pattern sources that I'm looking for inspiration from. And I wanted to share that with you. I may still go to the library and look through more to just get some like color inspiration. I want to look at some mosaic books that I have. I do like to play with mosaic away from the channel. I'm still trying to figure out a way to introduce that to the channel, but we'll see. One thing at a time. Okay, so I've checked that off the list. How are we doing? I'm just doing a quick update. See if anybody peppered in here. It's really a life experience knitting a man's sweater using a 3-weight yarn. Believe me, I know. Oh my. I'm so afraid, you know. I don't think my first sweater knit needs to be of a thin yarn. Hi, Connie. Welcome in. I think what I need to do is start with a worsted weight or an Aran weight yarn, possibly even a bulky weight yarn like Premier Puzzle, something to that effect, to just understand the construction and what it really feels like to put those pieces together before jumping headfirst into like a fingering weight sweater or a DK weight sweater. I just feel like it's so involved, which is fine. I think I need to understand the process before I commit to something like that, you know? Kim says, I haven't crocheted a wearable yet. Oh my, really? Well, listen, Kim. Over the summer, we had a make-along here on the channel, Juan the Yarn Addicts. We all went ahead and came together to make the Big Boxy Boyfriend Cardi. Or the Big Boxy Cardi. You know, however you wanted to call it, the Big Boxy Cardi. And what the tutorial really did, what the purpose of it was to teach you the construction aspect of it. Because, you know, most people who crochet and who are interested in making a wearable kind of sort of know how to make chains, then how to make double crochet stitches. So there really wasn't much to teach in that regard. But what I was doing was telling you guys how to make those pieces and how to put them together for your wearable. So you may want to go back and check and just take a quick look at that to see if that's of interest to you. I know that, you know, you guys are experiencing summer, so maybe those really heavy, bulky wearables isn't for you right now, but maybe in the near future, you'll know where that is. Okay? But yeah, super, super nice. Hi, Eugenia. Welcome in. Hi, Spoonie. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you popping in here. So yeah, the other thing that I wanted to suggest to you guys, if you are a person who crochets or knits year-round and you like to stay or try to be organized, I highly suggest perhaps looking into getting yourself a book. It could be anything, a notebook, it could be a project book like this. This you can also find on Amazon. A dear friend of mine sent this to me. This is called Yarn It. This is a knitting and crochet journal. The great thing about this is it's hard. And it's spiral bound. And on the inside here, it's all backwards, but you can kind of get a gist of what this is. So you can like put a piece of your swatch there. You can list all of your aspects of your project there. Most importantly, like the name, when you started it, the color, the dye lot number, all the things. Anything you may have experienced during your process, you can actually write all of that here. But you can do the same thing in like a composition book if that's to your liking. But if you want something that has all of those sections separated, this is probably your best bet. Okay? Very, very nice. Check that out on Amazon, or just get yourself a notebook. You know, write the things down. Keep track. I'm trying to make better use of my materials here that I have, you know, and one of the things is literally like taking a few minutes as I start a brand new project to write the things down, because how many times have we worked a project and forgot what hook size we used for a project? Or when did we start this project? Or what was the dye lot number of the first skein that I used when I first started this project? Because now I need more yarn and I have to ask around to see if they have this particular lot number, you know? Just having all of that written down, or, you know, somewhere where you can find it is kind of the point. you know? So, so good. All right. Let's move all of this out of the way, By the way, guys, if you haven't checked it out, on last night's live, I announced that we had some treats. So if you haven't done so already, go over there, check out the information. I've got a treat box for the members of the channel, and I have a treat box for the viewership. You have to be publicly subscribed, but if you're interested, I'm looking very much forward to gifting some of my yarns to the viewers. So we had yarns come in through a donation to the channel, and I'm immediately paying it forward. I just want to give it back to you guys. So check out the video, listen to the things, and do it before I do the drawing tonight. I'm doing the drawing tonight, so stay tuned for that. Okay? And I think Kim is mentioning it now. I always like to reiterate this. I feel like it's really important because no matter how many times I mention this, many people still ask, Juan, why do we have to be publicly subscribed to win one of your giveaways? The reason is because in years past, many, many times, I've had people win prizes on my channel who were not only not publicly subscribed, but they weren't subscribed at all. They had no interest in anything that I had to present on the channel. They did not watch my content, and they openly said this. They said, you know, I don't watch your channel. I'm not really interested in anything you have to show. I really don't like you. But you're giving something away, and I figured, why not go for it? And to me, I said, you know, that's not really fair to the people who watch. You know, I want my prizes to go to the people who like really enjoy what it is that I do here. So I said, well, one way to really cut that out is to make sure that you're publicly subscribed to the channel. And when I do my checks and I record it, you can see all the things. So the prizes are going to the right people. And that's, in a nutshell, the reason why. And I know many channels across the YouTube universe, in and out of the Yarny community, they don't necessarily require that you're publicly subscribed to the channel, and that's their prerogative. Different strokes for different folks. If you want anything here, you need to be publicly subscribed. Just putting that out there, you know? So, so good. And by the way, I want to enable you guys for a moment. Nature's Bakery Fig Bars. Everything's coming out backwards because I'm using my phone. Had we been on the computer, everything would have been able to be read. But this is Nature's Bakery Fig Bar. And this has the non-GMO sticker on it, so non-genetically modified. In essence, everything that's in here is what it should be. And I got to tell you, this is very, very, very good. It comes in different flavors. This one's my favorite flavor, raspberry. I like blueberry, I like apple cinnamon, but I always go back to the raspberry. It's all the things. So even Kim says it's all the things, all the things. Anyway, good morning, Sue Ann. Welcome in. I know it's like it's not even what, 3 o'clock your time. Wow. But have you had the peach apricot? I don't know about that. You know, something about the color peach, something about the fruit peach. I don't know. I don't have anything nice to say about that, but I don't know. Maybe one day I'll just bite the bullet and try it anyway. It's just very off-putting. The color, all the things, peach. Hi, Josiah. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Hi, Danette. You like Fig Newtons? I like the strawberry Fig Newtons. Now, those are good. More specifically, I like the fat-free strawberry Fig Newtons. The only reason why you don't see me eat them here on the channel, and call me a cheapskate, but they charge so much more money for the fat-free and the gluten-free and all the healthier food options, the snack options. Like, I went shopping last week. Well, I go all the time, but there's that section in the store where it's all like gluten-free and all the frees and all, you know what I mean? A box of pasta was like $7. And right next door in the next aisle, that same pasta that wasn't gluten-free and all the things was literally like $1.29. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, and I said, and one of the things was the Fig Newtons, the fat-free strawberry. Like, it was $6.29, but then the regular pack was 2 for $7. Huge difference. But the regular pack had all the things in it. So anyway, it's still good. Still good. Hi, Carol. Welcome in. Anyone that I may have missed, hello to you. Happy Monday. Thank you for peppering in here. Thank you for popping in. Hopefully, you can utilize this live stream as an opportunity to organize your week, or to just put me on for background noise while you do your Monday things. Okay? So we've covered quite a bit so far. I've got a new make on the hook for testing right now. I'm making modifications. I've shown that. I have a new beanie pattern. I've shown that. I have other things on the hook that I'm currently designing. I call them nunyas. I can't really show them yet because they're really involved, and they're special projects that I don't want to leak out of the bag, because when you see them, I want you to be like, wow, that looks so good. I like that for me and for you and for us. So I have something on the hook right now that's really, really pretty, and it's a custom make, which means there are no repeats in this project, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. I just absolutely love it, and I cannot wait for you guys to see it. So good. I love that for you guys, I love being able to say, I'm excited. I've spent the last few days really working through my design brain and my design inspiration, and I want to continue on this trajectory because I really like the vibes that's happening. Like, yeah, I just tune out the noise, and I don't want to sound very preachy, but sometimes in all of our lives, we need to tune out the noise, whether that be the TV, nosy neighbors, annoying family members, whatever it is. Sometimes it's really nice to just say, I have to tune out the noise and just stay focused with what I got going on with myself. And I did that recently. And this one day I woke up and I said, I feel really inspired to create this one thing. And so I sat in this very chair, and I did not get up from this chair until the project was nearly halfway finished. And I frogged back, I typed out all of my recipe, and I went back and double checked it, I triple checked it, and super inspired. And I said, you know what, Juan? Not just for me, but we all need days like that. We need days where we say, you know what, guys, whoever you are, you don't exist right now. I need to be at peace with myself, stay focused with what's going on right here. And I find that I'm super, super productive when I tune out the noise. So yeah, if I could offer you some advice, tune out the noise if you want to just gain some focus with what's going on. If you feel like you're not being productive, if you feel like you're not, really feeling inspired with your crochet or anything, just tune out the noise and just center yourself, So good. Good morning, Erica and Erin and Cleo and Jennifer and all the people coming in. Bonnie, hello to you. Hello. Cleo is working on cutting out the noise. Right. Sometimes we got to do that. And, the biggest challenge is trying to figure out how to do that. How do you cut out the noise, right? Let me tell you how I've done it. And my way's not the only way, guys. There's many ways to cut out the noise. Number one, and I've learned this from close friends of mine, when people ask you to do things and you don't want to do it, no is enough. No is enough. If you feel compelled to go beyond those two letters, you're not tuning out the noise. Just say no. No is enough. And I mean, I don't really know how else to put that, but the light bulb went on, and you know what I said? No is enough. No is enough. So if you have to tell anyone no, say to yourself, do I really need to explain the no? No. So there's one really good way. The other way is to find your peace. Find your peace with what you're doing. If you like being in noisy spaces so you can stay focused, because some of us are like that. We like loud music. We love loud noise. We love to be downtown, the hustle bustle of the city. And that gives us peace. Um, we have people that are the exact opposite. We need complete and utter silence. Whatever that looks like to you, find that. Find your space, find your peace. And when you get there, focus on what's in front of you and nothing else. Turn your phone off. Just stay focused with what you've got going on in front of you. And I know it's really hard, and it's taken me a long time to really figure out what that feels like, because I feel compelled to turn everything back on. I turn it off, but then I turn it back on. And I hate that for me, but you have to learn through error, you know? So, anyway, you listen to music, Carol? I love that. Because if you're not at peace, you'll be in pieces. That's absolutely correct. And sometimes you don't know you're in pieces until after the pieces have become so small that you don't know how to put them back together. And you have to reach out for help and say, I'm in a million little pieces, and I don't know how to put myself back together again. You don't want to get to that point. So just tell yourself, let's get some peace. Let's figure out what that looks like and make it happen. Okay? Anyway, circling back to fiber arts and crochet. A lot of us come to this space to give peace to our brain, to give us a getaway from the day to day. If that is what it looks like for you, then I would really encourage you to figure out a way to make that more consistent, because sometimes some of us are so busy that we don't know when we get to have our crochet time or our crochet space. Prioritize it. If it makes you happy, bump it up on the list of priorities. It doesn't have to be the very top thing, but it should be up high enough so that you prioritize it over other things that can normally wait, because your sanity is very important. I mean, we all need balance. We all need peace. And so to find that peace, to find that balance, prioritize your crochet, prioritize your knitting, get your space, be in your nest. We all have a nest, right? Our little space where our notions are, our piles of yarn, our little whip basket, our bags. Get your space and be happy in your space. So one big family, yes, we are. I'm being nosy here. I love it. Thank you so much, Kim. So yes, hopefully, these little words of encouragement go a long way. If not, I mean, let it go through one ear and out the other. But for those who find this helpful, just know that it comes from a place of peace, and kindness. All right. So thank you so much for that. Let's see. I need to delete a comment there. Thank you. I don't like looking at things like that. It's rude. So anyway, guys, anybody have any questions? Anything that you guys want to talk about? Jennifer says, I'm yes, happy. I'm in my space. I agree. It took a long time to be happy in my space. It's really helpful. Juan, it's nice to hear you say that. Yes. I mean, sometimes hearing it turns on a light bulb, and we've got so much going on every day. We've got our life. We have life. And life has lots of things going on within that, lots of layers. So to hear someone say, find your peace, take a minute for yourself. If crochet makes you happy, prioritize it. It's okay to prioritize your fiber art. I mean, some people paint, some people, sculpt. Some of us crochet, some of us knit, some of us are bistitchuals, and a lot of how I've been able to maintain my sanity is to just shut that door and not allow anyone to come in. When the door's closed, you cannot come in here. This is my sanctuary. This is my place of peace. And anything happening on the outside of that door can wait until I'm ready to open that door, Let's see. Just a thank you for the membership, the members pattern, if that is allowed. Really, word membership. Yeah. Thank you so much, Connie. I appreciate that. Yes, the officials receive a free pattern every month. And they have exclusive access to it for 2 weeks before I actually present it to the channel. I showed you guys the work, but the actual pattern and the tutorial are not released until 2 weeks or so. So, when single crocheting in the back loop, do you not crochet in the back loop for the first and last stitch? Yes. You can if you want. It's fine. I know some people who don't do that because they feel like it doesn't really hold the stitch, but it's not going anywhere. It's not going to fall off. You can use the back loop for your first and your last stitch. It's going to be perfectly fine. Yep. So yeah. Just like listening to you talk all the things. Yeah, I'm trying not to allow myself to turn into like Juan's TED Talk. I can definitely do TED Talk vibes, but, not for a Monday morning wake up with Juan. I mean, sometimes people are just trying to get up and make life choices before grabbing the first cup of coffee. So a lot of the TED Talk conversations can be really deep, and, the timing is essential when you start getting into TED Talk vibes. But I know that like people listen to me on their way to work, and sometimes getting inspirational messages and things like that on your way to work is really helpful. I get that part. So it's really nice. Juan just got out of bed after having drip. Oh, wow. Well, I hope you feel better. Sharon says, crocheting has become my happy place since losing both my parents, dad on the 18th and mom on the 8th. Wow, I'm so sorry for your loss. But I'm glad you're finding joy in crochet. It's really nice. You know what? And I think a lot of you guys would resonate with this statement. A lot of us are emotional crocheters. A lot of us are emotional fiber artists. So whether you knit or crochet, we have life events that happen within our lives, and we find ourselves coming back to our craft to give us a place of balance, a place of peace. And it's mainly because it's what we enjoy doing. It allows us to meditate and really think about all the things and to really process. It's just that whole repetition of doing all of your stitches and many reasons. But I too am an emotional crocheter, and I find that when things happen in life, it allows me to either really dig into my craft, or sometimes the opposite happens. I'm not really as focused as I could be because I have so much going on in my life. I do know that when I worked in the pharmacy, when we had really rough times, I couldn't really stay focused on the content on my channel because I had so much going on at the day job. So I get it. I know how that feels when you can be super focused and super inspired and then the opposite happens. Or when you lose loved ones, maybe you lost a family member and you want to create something in their memory. Or maybe you lost a significant person in your life and you're just really not feeling up to anything crochet or knit. But eventually we find ourselves coming back to the craft. So, yeah. It's very therapeutic for sure. And you know, I watched a video last night. I forget which platform, but I watched a video last night and they were digging into the history of crochet. And um, it was, I believe it was TikTok. And the lady was going on about crochet and how doctors used crochet as therapy. It helped people uh, process their thoughts. It helped prevent them from going insane. It helped them be able to stay balanced. And the same is true to this day. You're hearing me say all of the same things that these doctors were telling their patients hundreds of years ago. So instead of prescribing medication, they were saying, go get a hook and get some yarn and crochet and just do your stitches and just be with your thoughts. Allow your thoughts to process and do all the things. And so we still find ourselves doing that to this day. So super, super nice. Hi, Michelle. Welcome in. Super happy to see you. Yeah. And the guys I teach find it very good for their mental health too. Yeah, it's very, very, it's a positive thing, you know, for sure. I don't think anyone could sit here and say they get all the negative things out of the work that they create. You know, it's art. It's what we create with our hands. So it's super, super helpful. So yeah, very, very nice. Getting some sips here. Getting all the sips in. Now, even though I've worked in healthcare for 2 decades, I will never sit here and tell you, you know, here is some medical advice. But what I will tell you, if you are a fiber artist, if you're a crocheter or you're a knitter, and you're experiencing like pain in your hands and your elbows and your arms, always seek medical professional help. That being said, listen to your hands. Sometimes a nice little hand rub goes a long way. You know, stretch your hands, prayer, and then bring it down very slowly. You know, stretch your hands just as much as your hands will allow you to do that, you know, because not doing it keeps everything very stiff, and working our craft with stiff muscles and tendons really does no good, you know. So always, always treat your hands as kindly as you'd like to treat your crochet and your knitting. Okay. Let's see. Julia says, Juan, it was difficult to find quiet time growing up. I did, as also one of 11. Knitting was a quiet time. Yep. Thank you so much, Carol. I really appreciate that. She says, I'm a great teacher. MD Stash says, I have a question about the chain 2 or 3 at the beginning of a round. Why do we sometimes count it as a stitch and sometimes we don't? I really can't wrap around. Okay. So very, very great question. So when a project asks you to chain at the beginning of a round, the number of chains will ultimately determine whether or not it's to be counted as a stitch. The wonderful thing about crochet is a machine cannot reproduce what we do. That being said, the crochet designer has full autonomy on what they do with their stitches. But what I will tell you, the general rule of thumb is, if your chain count is not equal to the height of a stitch, it should never be counted as a stitch. So it's really important to understand what stitch count equals what stitch, okay? So for instance, a single crochet is 1 chain. A half double crochet is 2 chains. A double crochet is 3, and a treble is 4, all US terms, by the way. So if ever you start a round and it says to chain 2 and then insert double crochet stitches, well, the chain 2 is not equal to the height of a stitch. So therefore, it's to not be counted as a stitch. It just elevates you to the level. If you watch my tutorials, I actually say that in my tutorials. This is to not be counted as a stitch. It's just to elevate us to the next round. So in my tutorials, I sort of kind of educate you and I tell you why that's not the case. So if ever I say in a tutorial chain 3, it is to be counted as a stitch because it equals the height of that particular stitch. Never should any crochet designer or pattern say chain 3 and it's to not be counted as a stitch for a double crochet. You know what I mean? So hopefully that helps. Yeah. Did we get a repeat on the question? MD Stash, I just answered your question. No need to put it there again. So hopefully that helped. Let's see here. That's how I returned to crochet. My husband passed, and it's my therapy. Yep, crochet and yard work are therapy for me. It can bring things. Yes, absolutely. You know, therapy for me, believe it or not, outside of crochet, is two things. You guys who watch me all the time know this. I am an instrumentalist, so I play the violin, I play the viola, and so I go to that when I feel compelled to do that, and I'm not really in the mood to do anything fiber related, but I also write. So I love, love, love to write. And more specifically, I'm into poems. I imagined like hundreds of years ago, if I lived in a past life, I had this like Yankee Doodle cap on with a huge feather, and I had like scrolls of like paper, and yeah, that's kind of what a poet would look like, I would feel, with the white stockings and the pointy shoes, and yeah. The poet. Anyway, I get a lot of joy out of writing poetry. So, little fact about me, in case you guys didn't know that. I've only been doing crochet for 1,800 months, and I have learned a lot from Juan. Well, 1,800 months is a long time, Rose. Well, maybe 18, maybe you meant 18. 1,800 months, how many years is that? That might be longer, I don't know. 1,800 divided by 12? 11, 12 years? Hi, Juan. Question. How do you store your yarn flats, especially when they are still too large to go into a scrap basket? So I try to cake up my flats, right? That's why I do coffee and cake with Juan. But if I have to store my flats, I have one right here. So this is a flat. See? Flat as a pancake. The best way to store this, if you can't cake this, guys, okay? And some of you may find this very unorthodox. However, I find that this works. So I take this and I go like this. I fold it in half and I take both of the ends. You've got the end from inside the skein and outside. I take them both and gently wrap around like this. And I store it just like this. And then when I'm ready to cake it up, I take this, I unravel it, I find the strand from inside the skein and the strand from the outside of the skein, and I open it back up, and then I pull and I start caking it up, or I start using it. So that is how I do it. Again, it's unorthodox, but it's okay. I love that for us. Let's see. And my therapy is crochet. I have a girl, and it's so fun to make her cute stuff. That's so cool. I love that for you. I just folded my yarn like that earlier. Yes, and you know the reason why I do that, when you fold over the flats, it keeps the inside from getting all messy. You know, if it's already flat, right? So just fold it in half. Don't allow anything inside of that skein to get all messed up. So when you go to flatten it, like open it back up, it's starting right where it left off. So that's the reason why I do it. If you have a different way, use your way. But if you like this way, go ahead and do it. Why not? All right. Thank you so much. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed this Wake Up with Juan session. I really enjoyed it. After this live stream, I take time in the office. I do my usual Monday admin stuff and get on with my week. So for today, please stay tuned for the Whipping It with Juan session. I will be rolling that out to the channel. And if you're a member, I'm going to more than likely be doing a video. Stay updated to the community tab. I'll let you guys know what I'm doing. But right now it's looking like a video for you guys. So stay tuned for that. All right. So that is all from me for now. And until the next one, guys, have a wonderful week. Bye, guys.